This video is brought to you by Battlezoo Eldamon. This expansion to Pathfinder 2nd Edition and D&D 5e is a Pokemon-style rule set that will allow all players to collect, befriend, train, and evolve 160 different Eldamon. Battlezoo Eldamon is coming to Kickstarter on July 26th. This video is also brought to you by Dungeons & Lasers Encounters, which is running a campaign on GameFound right now. If you're not already familiar with the Dungeons & Lasers product line, they produce highly detailed and modular pieces of scenery to use with your game table to turn normal encounter maps into fully 3D environments. I've purchased a lot of their terrain in the past and hope you take a moment to check out this new campaign that's linked in the description. Hey everybody, Dave here with another Pathfinder rule reminder for you, and today's topic is: can you use a higher level spell slot to cast a lower level spell without heightening it? So basically this is going to be a situation for spontaneous spellcasters. If you're a prepared spellcaster, if you're a wizard, cleric, druid, or any other kind of prepared spellcaster, no worries, you can freely heighten any spell you have. But for our spontaneous casters out there, our sorcerers and bards and so forth, is going to work a little differently. For those spontaneous casters, they can only cast spells at the levels that they learn their spells. So basically, a 3rd level lightning bolt spell and a 5th level lightning bolt spell are treated as two completely different spells for the purposes of a spontaneous caster. And therefore, they would be, if they learned the 3rd level version of Lightning Bolt, they could only cast 3rd level Lightning Bolt spells, and if they learned the 5th level version, they could only cast the 5th level version, and if they knew both 3rd and 5th level versions, they could not cast the 4th level version between them. Now, one very notable exception to this is going to be the signature spells that spontaneous casters learn. Those do allow you to cast them heightened at any level with any appropriate spell slot. But the question comes up, and this especially comes from our new players coming to us from 5e, where they're accustomed to being able to use a higher level spell slot to cast a lower level spell, without any additional benefit in doing so. So for example, if you wanted to cast Fireball, which is a 3rd level spell, and you're all out of 3rd level spell slots, but you've got a 4th level spell slot, can you spend that 4th level spell slot to cast Fireball? But even though you're using a 4th level spot, you're going to cast it as a 3rd level spell. It's not heightened. It has 3rd level spell Fireball damage and everything else. And the raw for this is a little tricky. There is nowhere in the rulebook that explicitly says that you can do this. There's nothing that literally says that you can spend a higher level spell slot to cast a lower level spell without any additional benefits. There's a lot of text about heightening and how heightening works, but they don't really address this particular issue. And there's a lot of folks online who debate this topic in both ways. I'm not going to get into all of the debates, but just to say, there's nothing in the rules that explicitly says that this is allowed. Now, there are some very influential people in the Pathfinder community who do allow it in their games. For example, Jason Ballman, who is the creator of Pathfinder, the entire setting, or perhaps he's a co-creator, but he is somebody who absolutely positively would know, has said on Reddit that yes, you can do this. You can spend a higher level spell slot to cast a lower level spell, but in doing so, if it's not heightened, it doesn't get any additional benefits. You're just using whatever spell slot you have available to cast the spell. Also, for whatever is worth, friend of the show Mark Seifter, who was a lead designer on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, on the core rulebook, on all, he's a big rules guru. He's no longer with Paizo, but he has said that in his games he allows this as well. But he also wants to make sure everybody is aware that that's his opinion as a player and a GM, and that is not to be considered an official ruling a piece of errata or anything like that. That's just the way he would handle it in his game. And honestly, I think that's good enough for me. So if Jason Bowman and Mark Seifter allow it, even if it's not explicitly said in the rules that you can do that, I would allow it in my games as well. But for those of you who want to adhere to a strict rules as written interpretation, then yeah, there's nothing in the rules that says you are allowed to do that. So that's it for today. If you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments. I'll make sure that I leave links in the description to any of my other videos that touch on spellcasting and heightening spells. And as always, I want to say thank you to everybody out there who supports me, whether that's through clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, buying a super thanks, sharing the video with your friends, subscribing to the Patreon. It all adds up, and thank you very much for everything you do to support me. Thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming.